want to begin by saying the names of the people who we know the Winnipeg Police Service murdered this past year. Aisha Hudson.
Before you proceed, we're speaking on budget items today. I don't know the relevance of that line of the direction you're going here. So if we could just speak to budget items and concerns with that you may have with respect to an increase of the police budget, it'd be greatly appreciated and in fitting with decorum.
Wow, I think that's extremely disrespectful because this is an institution that you fund, that we're talking about funding, that has taken the lives of Winnipeggers, and I wanted to acknowledge those lives.
And I appreciate how you may feel on that, but we're here talking about the budget today. And if you want to, keep your comments towards the budget, it would be greatly appreciated.
Aisha Hudson, 16 years old, murdered by Winnipeg police on April 8th, 2020. Jason Collins, 36 years old, murdered by Winnipeg police on April 9th, 2020. Stuart Andrews, 22 years old, murdered on April 18th, 2020 by Winnipeg police. And now I want to, there are other people obviously who the Winnipeg police murdered this year and who died in custody, but we do not have their names. So I want to just carve out a little bit of space to think about them as well and their families. Next, I want to talk about a petition that circulated this summer by Justice for Black Lives Winnipeg that contained demands for the city of Winnipeg specific to the police budget that I believe we're discussing this morning. And that petition received over 114,000 signatures. And it's interesting to note that that's more signatures than votes that Mayor Bowman received in 2018. I'll just get those numbers here because I know that we like numbers at City Council. This petition circulated by Justice for Black Lives Winnipeg with respect to the City of Winnipeg police budget received 115,516 signatures. In the 2018 Winnipeg civic election, Mayor Bowman received 114,222 signatures. The city councillor with the most votes in 2018 received just over 14,000 signatures. So this petition has received 10 times as many endorsements as has any city councillor in Winnipeg. This petition calls for the complete defunding of the Winnipeg Police Service. It calls for shifting the over $300 million budget of the Winnipeg Police Service to community services, to life-sustaining services controlled by the community that actually keep people safer. It demands that the City of Winnipeg freeze the Winnipeg Police Service budget as a first step towards the complete defunding. It contains many sophisticated, small steps that you can take now to accomplish this bigger goal. It calls for defunding all Winnipeg Police Service equipment, the helicopter, the tank, etc. It calls for cutting the Winnipeg Police Service overtime budget completely. It calls for canceling all cadet classes. It calls for a freeze on all Winnipeg Police Service hiring. It calls for defunding the Winnipeg Police Service Community Relations Department. It calls for total Winnipeg Police Service budget transparency and more. I also wanted to highlight one thing, and this is more for, this is more for the people who I hope are listening to this, who are committed to making Winnipeg a safer place and know that police don't do that, and are committed to shifting the police budget into life-sustaining services and community services. I recently spoke with Professor Orly Lanovsky's transportation seminar at the University of Manitoba. about my work with Bar None and the prison visiting rideshare that we operate, which brings people free of charge to visit their loved ones in prisons near Winnipeg, Headingley and Milner Ridge provincial prisons and Stony Mountain federal prison. And most of the people imprisoned there, held in captivity, of course, arrived there via the Winnipeg Police Service. The students there are from places all over the world, from countries all over the world. And we had a wonderful discussion about the city of Winnipeg budget, which is similar to budgets all over the world because it's a capitalist budget. And capitalist budgets prioritize property and police and deprioritize people's needs. So of course you all here are not unique, and we recognize that. We were talking about the connection between the ballooning police budget and the shrinking transit budget. And in talking about the rideshare that brings people to visit their loved ones, we started talking about the essence of prisons and policing, which in some sense is to divide families, to divide communities, to extract people from their families and communities and keep them from seeing one another. And we talked about how defunding transportation, public transportation, does the exact same thing. So in this time of a global pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic, when we're all self-isolating and we're all sorely, sorely missing our loved ones, I think maybe this is a time to deepen our understanding of what a life-sustaining service means and strengthen our understanding of that concept that we that we hold so dear and that we work so hard to see achieved. And I think that we can think of a life-sustaining service as something that brings people together, that allows loved ones to be together, to see each other and support one another. And we know that defunding public transportation defunds our ability to see one another. And we know that increasing funding for the Winnipeg Police Service funds family division and funds the forces that keep our families and communities apart. Thanks for listening to me.
Are there any questions of Mr. Toews? Seeing none, moving to the next delegation.